Hey, I'm Midnight. I'm a Deadlock coach. I want to go over the latest patch and explain why I'm not really the biggest fan of it and how it will change your games. So first off, you're going to see a lot of this theme. There's a general move speed nerf. This change, instead of just doing a 10% of general movement speed, will do 20% of base movement speed, which should overall be more because of a later change. Actually, it's right here, where move speed now stacks diminishingly. Previously, if you had enduring speed giving you 2 meters movement speed and surge power giving you 2.25, it would just be a total of 4.45, but now we'll stack multiplicatively, which means I'm throwing out an arbitrary number here. I'm not quite sure where the line is drawn or what they see as 100%. It might just be double your movement speed, so then it could be differently per character. So I did some testing. My testing is a little rough around the edges. I'm sure someone smarter can do this better than me, but basically I did it with enduring speed and frenzy because they're the only two items in the game that give base movement speed, which is shown in this chart. Initial movement speed doesn't appear in this chart, so it's significantly harder to test. But it seems from my testing, normally these two items would give a total of 10.75 meters movement speed, but instead they give 10.6, which is a little over an 11% decrease. So it looks like they are treating the top movement speed as 10 meters a second. So in the same way, if you had an item giving you 50% bullet resist, another item giving you 50% bullet resist, you would get in total 75% bullet resist, and not 100 like it would be if it was additive and how movement speed previously was. If you had 5 meters movement speed, another item giving you 5 meters movement speed, you would get a total of 7.5. And then in these lower numbers, it's kind of harder to calculate. But the TLDR is the more you have, especially coming from smaller individual instances, the more and more you will lose. And past like 3 items, you're going to see very, very diminishing returns. Also, they reduce base movement speed, and heroes with move speeds scaling with spirit will now have the values reduced by 40%. This is an amazing change. I love this change. Heroes in this game with spirit move speed scaling are Sinclair, Viper, Seven, and Grey Talon. They are all, thank God this is getting nerfed, because I mean, Seven, one big reason he's allowed to stay permanently present on the map and permanently farm is that scaling. And a lot of these characters, I mean, the reason Sinclair is so slippery and can always get away is that scaling. It was really good to have nerfed by a significant margin. Wraith also has spirit scaling on her move speed, but it's sprint speed scaling, which is individually nerfed later. Every character is also getting their base sprint speed reduced. So again, more nerfs. Also, they're nerfing slow resist, which, like, really? Do we really think, like, we really think getting away to, like, outplay, like, Kelvin Beam or, like, Kelvin Dome or, like, any form of slows, like, being able to buy enduring speed to counter these things is bad? Are we really saying that? One change I'm a really big fan of is this Majestic Leap change, where they've added 10 seconds to the cooldown, and they've reduced the barrier for boon scaling. I still don't think this item is balanced, but it's almost there. I think it just needs one more, like, smaller hit where they, like, probably nerf its boon scaling to, like, 7 and up the cooldown to, like, 50 seconds. Then I think it's at a good state, although realistically it could also just not have the barrier and be at 45 seconds and it also still be, like, relatively viable. But the reason I'm not a fan of these, like, massive movement changes is this isn't the issue. Base movement speed and base sprint speed aren't the issue. The reason these changes are happening is because people are, like, escaping outplaying with movement, which, although is very fun, I do understand that it is probably unhealthy for the game as much as, like, you know, also, why are they not nerfing edge boosting? Like, again, I don't want them to nerf edge boosting, but, like, that is the movement outplay, like, cornerstone. But anyway, the point is, the issue is, like, half the characters on the roster with these completely insane movement abilities. The issue is, like, Wraith can TP across the map. Mina can 2 across the map. Mina 2 is spirit scaling for distance. Like, every character, Invert is Dash, every character with a movement ability. This just exacerbates the problem of if they press that button and you can't do anything because now you can't even catch them normally. Like, I play a lot of Holiday, and it is not remotely fair that I can just continually and completely overextend and then just press 2 and get out for completely free. And again, this just exacerbates that issue of now, how is anyone going to catch me if they don't have any base movement speed or sprint speed and I'm just flying across the map with, like, 4 jump pads for no reason? Also, this just means superior stamina stocks have skyrocketed. I'm honestly might start buying this on Holiday, even though I've always been a big proprietor of Spirit Holiday. I prefer K-Dash on it because it gives up an investment, but now I think I might have to switch to superior stam because it's just, everyone's going to be so slow in this item. Also, again, superior stam also needs a nerf. And, like, can we talk about the fact, again, I'm sorry, I know I'm tangenting, I know this video is relatively pessimistic, but it's all because of more constructive place. How is Paradox, right-click movement tech, and Carbine speed not nerfed, by the way? Another thing is, like, how are we nerfing all this? Or, like, oh yeah, no, that Paradox where she can fly across the map easily, that's fine. That seems fair. This is a really interesting change. They've reduced bonus health on items, but they made it so the vitality tree, it no longer gives percent of base health, but it gives just a flat amount, which is kind of insane. Before, if you were playing like Mina or something, getting your green spike, you still wanted it because it's still more health, but it wasn't like super necessary. But now on Krill, a green spike isn't going to be that crazy, where it used to be insane. And now on characters like Mina, they're really going to want this green spike because an extra 525 HP is, I mean, almost doubles Mina's HP. It's double her base, and then obviously she'll scale. At that point, it'll probably be a third extra HP, which is pretty ridiculous. We nerfed the Spirit Spike, thank God. Again, I'm not really even a fan of the 4.8k spikes. I think it kind of railroads building a lot more than I would like. And it's insane when like Mina or like, I don't know, Dynamo Kicks get Spirit Spike in lane and then they just do a comical amount of damage for no reason. So I'm glad it's nerfed, but I really hope we stray away from railroaded spikes. Again, the spikes used to kind of exist at 7.8, but they weren't that major. They were just like extremely diminishing returns after. It was a lot more fun when you were building rather than just like, all right, how do I hit all my 4.8s? And then you can now I can actually play the game. Now that I have all my 4.8s, I can actually make a build. Both Surge of Power and Rapid Recharge got ability Spirit or ability Power nerfs, which I agree with. I mean, the thing is, like, I agree with all these changes. I think all these changes are good. But also, it's kind of insane that, like, Gun kind of just is here and, like, didn't really get touched. I mean, these are all general Spirit nerfs. I'm so glad Spirit Snatch got nerfed again. And then Tank Buster got a really interesting change where instead of doing 5% max health, it's now going to do 7.5% current health. Keep in mind it pierces resistances, but I mean, I like this. It'll still be like on Lash and stuff and like more one-shot, like Mina. I mean, this makes it better for invading. If you lead with it on jungle, it's going to make you clear jungle even faster. So like Mina and Lash were kind of the only characters that could really buy it before like 22 minutes. And now it's going to be even more like good on them because you can just, well, Lash because you can one-shot more quickly, Mina because she can steal jungle very easily. And also we might start seeing on like Pocket and just a lot of hyper farmers might start buying this. But it does seem like it's going to fit more in the counter tanky comp or by even later slot, which is nice. This does seem like pretty strong though if you're already a character that wants to one-shot and leads with a lot of Spirit Burst. They reduced Trooper Souls just by 12, which is good. I mean, also, again, there's this general next theme, which I kind of like. I'm a fan of this. Well, actually, it's a little after this, but it's basically they're just reducing general souls in the game, which I think is cool. This is a major change. I actually love this change. We all knew this was coming, but thank God it finally is here. Shrine health increased from 3,000 to 7,000, which is a significant change for sieging up. Killing both enemy shrines will now make your troopers 30% stronger. So essentially, they work as like inhibitors in any other MOBA. Which is sick. I think this is good. It gives shrines an actual value. Base is almost good. Only thing we need is down patron needs like triple the HP, or like to have an attack or something, and then like we're great. I don't think that'll come till the next major patch. Also, the Walker Fireball's got a nerf, which is worth mentioning because oh my god, these things shred now that they reduce resistances when they hit you. So it's good they're smaller, but like stay away from these. Sorry, it's a little off screen. They go absolutely insane. Next, we just have some medic trooper changes. Basically, it does a little more damage. It's a little tankier. It'll heal its allies a little more, which is cool, I guess. I mean, I don't think this is that major, but it will make it like before because the medic trooper always used to lead the wave. It was kind of difficult not to kill it first, which was kind of an issue. So this will make it so it's faster to kill the backline troopers. And then, I mean, also, again, just with the way the wave structures, it is better if the first troop is tankier. So this should be good. We also got a general comeback bounties increase. I don't know. I feel like comeback bounties I honestly don't know. I feel like they're so hard to tune. I think they're too strong early. Like, in lane, you can kill them, like, 4 times. And if they kill you once, they're just caught up. And then, like, you know, around those first couple urns, like it is very, very easy to turn like a 10k lead, which, you know, in the first like 20 minutes of the game is significant, but one fight and it's like completely evaporated, which again is about 10% of the general lead. Well, then in the late game, when you have like a 10-15% lead that's like, I don't know, 30k souls, comeback souls feel like you have to either take multiple fights to turn that. I mean, I think that's something that should be looked at, just reducing it early, increasing it late. But I guess I'm glad they're getting more, although again, this also applies to the early games, so it might not feel great, and it kind of just reduces laning stage mattering. Big change of getting hit while you're on a jump pad will now deal 15% max HP damage. This is good. I mean, I don't know how I feel about this change. On the one hand, if someone was jump padding away from you and all you did was stun them, it kind of sucked when they'd get away. On the other hand, like for contesting bridge draws and stuff, if they're jump padding into you, you could already do like 300 HP guaranteed, like 200, 300 HP guaranteed. Now you also get 15% of their max HP and their stuns. Like if you're a melee character or something, or like a character that can, you know, like a page who can root or something, you can like really, really mess them up. So I guess this is good risk reward on jump pads, but it's also feeling like, you know, a stun and a ton of damage is a big punish for something that like is kind of hard to prevent. And the window is, I also think the window is too long right now. Just a general increase of a neutral's health, which is good. It'll make high performers a little slower. Thank God they didn't keep increasing damage. Increasing damage doesn't at all affect high performers because they always have some kind of inbuilt lifesteal, or they build like BLS or something. It just affected like everyone else trying to farm because they don't have lifesteal, and it was just like inadvertently a buff to high performers. So I'm glad we're just nerfing base HP. We're also reducing Sinner's bounty, which I think is good. I mean, the buffs are still really, really, really strong. But, you know, tuning down Sinners, they'll always be the most prioritized camp. Tuning them down is not a bad idea. Cul-de-sac got a cooldown nerf. I mean, 10 seconds doesn't matter. This item is, like, insane for soul inflation. Especially now that, like, camps are getting tankier and, like, souls and, like, Sinners are getting reduced. I think stocks of this item are going up slightly. And this isn't really enough to preemptively nerf it. But, I mean, I don't know. Again, I just think this item has been overtuned for a long time, so I'm relatively biased when I talk about it. And so they just changed unsecure souls, and the way I read this, which I could be incorrect, I'm not 100% sure I'm reading this correctly, but if you have a smaller bag, it'll clear quicker, but if you have a bigger bag, it'll clear slower. Which again, kind of nerf to high performers, it gives a good advantage. If you know the enemy, like, you know, you see, well, this is at a higher level, but you see their strong side's left side, you know their high performer is going to be deep on the right side jungle. You can go invade that, and now it's even more rewarding because the hyper farmer is going to be sitting on a bigger and bigger camp, which I think is very good. APR got a big buff, and now we'll go through plated. Previously, arm piercing rounds, I think it gave you 13% extra damage on people with plated. Now it's going to give, like, I'm guessing, I don't want to run the numbers, but I'm guessing like 25 to 26% more damage. So I think this is a good change because it did suck if you were like the M1 carrier, like the Haze or someone, and the entire enemy team could just itemize for you. And this will still hurt Haze because obviously plated armor will still stop her fixation from stacking. But it'll make it so you aren't just like cosmetic if they buy this item when you're trying to carry the game. Now we get to the hero changes. You will see my opinions on these. Billy health regen reduced by 0.5. Really blasted non-player effectiveness reduced by 10%. Light melee effectiveness or blasted light melee effectiveness reduced by 10%. Changing will now slightly break faster than out of line of sight. So, you know, this is the old paradox of what is less than infinity. And then these, I mean, this character has literally been dominating the meta for multiple patches. Insanely overtuned, insanely strong since the latest changes. This is not even dignified by calling it a slap on the wrist. This, okay, light melee effectiveness matters, and sure, blasted non-player effectiveness matters, like early game, players like Wander were using their tier 1 to heal up a lot, right? But in the general population, this change doesn't matter, because Billies weren't really abusing it to the best of their capacity. This matters, but also, why does he even have 3 health regen in the first place if his blasted just heals him like 500 HP? And then also, this doesn't answer the fact that his, like, 1 does, like, 500 damage and heals him for another 500 for no reason. And he also could just tank and just one-shot you. And Chang'e is just an insane grouping tool that has very, very little counterplay, as much as they might. I mean, they said, well, to be fair, you could buy counterspell, but, like, I don't know. I am not a... it breaking is just so incredibly finicky, and I think it's a bigger issue with, for one, the way the camera angle works. For 2, the way walls work in this game. Walls are not, like, coded correctly, which is also indicative of them wanting to change stuff in the map, and obviously they want to, like, dive down into pixel by pixel, like, hitboxing of a, like, an asset that isn't going to be in the game long run, so that makes sense, and that'll just come with time. The issue with the camera angle, I don't think that's a thing that needs to come with time. I think they need to fix, like, when you're looking at someone, your crosshairs on them, there's, like, that X, because your character model can't shoot them, like, that is kind of the same thing of, like, why Billy Chain can, like, pull you across the map or around corners. Like, that needs to be fixed. Dynamo Kick, Spirit Scaling range reduced from 0.2 to 0.1. Great change. This kicks will still be nukes. I main a bit of Dynamo, and I mean, this isn't enough. I'm not going to tell you, like, he's still a solo Q terrorist. because his kicks are going to do so much damage. By the way, if you're against a Dynamo who's rolling, you just try to double jump. If you just know how to press spacebar twice against Dynamo, his character feels like cosmetic. I say as, again, someone who mains a lot of Dynamo. And this is a good change. It'll reduce his insane range. Although I do think his kicks, even though they're very counterable by spacebar, what I would just want to see is Dynamo kick vertical hitbox increased, so you can't press spacebar twice. But its damage is like not cut in half, but like hit by like a third. I think that would be the change that'd be good to see. And it would just make it more reliable. I mean, again, this is kind of the same thing. Geist has been dominating the meta. They moved her to bucket 3, which just means she dashes slower. Her self-damage is increased, like the scaling on her bomb self-damage is increased, the Malice self-damage is increased. Like, cool, but like, are we not going to address the fact that she just hyper-farms and then she one-shots anyone? And then, like, are we not... Her ult is annoying, but sure, that's counted by the silences and such, even though, well, again, whole different issue. I think we just need to add an item that's like, I don't know, ping or something, or scan, or like some kind of like backstabber type of item that like shows you around you so she can't just hide around a corner. But the issue is like, again, her gun is doing 5,000 damage and she can just mow you down. And her 2, again, her 2 is not touched, by the way. Her 2 is just like healing her to full in lane and sucking you for like 300 damage. But this is, again, just not enough. Like, kind of, I mean, this nerf is something. This is like, in my opinion, more than the Billy nerf, but this is like, it's still just like not much. Again, I mean, same thing. We're seeing a theme. Mirage got like, I mean, these nerfs again are not insignificant, but they don't. Sure, okay. Mark cooldown increased by 0.1 seconds. Cool. Issue is it lasts too long. It does way too much damage. I mean, this bullet boon reduction is significant. Don't get me wrong. This will add up. To be fair, actually, I think this nerf is strong to Mirage. I just would have liked to see a little more towards his mark, like damage, which also, to be fair, the spirit scaling nerfs will reduce his mark damage. Or sorry, the base spirit spike nerfs will reduce his mark damage inadvertently. However, I don't know. He'll still be very playable. I think he could use a little more of a nerf. He has been, again, very, very meta dictating, which lost my train of thought. But the point is, these nerfs I actually do think are decent. But I don't think it'll be enough because Mirage just does so much damage right now, and a big part of that is his mark damage. Shiv got a nerf, but again, I mean, okay, sure, he can't. The killing blow cast range reduction only matters against Geist because at max range he could ult Geist without getting swapped. Doesn't like 2 meters is. I mean, it slightly matters, but not that much. Shiv rage buildup reduced, great. Let me see his rage. Don't make me like run around looking at a ball on his hip. Give me a bar over his head to actually know if he has rage and make it decay faster. We delayed his damage deferral. Can we just remove bloodletting from the game? Do we not understand that a character being able to take like 45% less damage is not fair? Like, do we not understand? Have we really not learned that percentage amp and percentage damage reductions like are extremely difficult to balance? I mean, this is not enough. Again, his knives do too much damage. His dash does too much damage. He tanks way too much. Bloodletting's way too OP. Yeah. I mean, this is like an embarrassment of a nerf, honestly. It's like kind of same as Billy. Again, the permabans, well, it's been, I mean, DSI last week it kind of swung, but generally the permabans in pro play have been Billy Shiv, Billy Shiv, Billy Shiv. And then if one team doesn't ban him, the other team won't ban him because, or sorry, if second pick doesn't ban one of them, if first pick doesn't ban one of them, second pick won't ban the other because whichever one first pick takes, second pick will get the other. But other than that, it's kind of just Billy Shiv, Billy Shiv, Billy Shiv. And these characters, I mean, I think it'll still be Billy Shiv. And then finally, we've got a Wraith nerf. Projectile spirit scaling reduced. Sure, I mean, the issue is the distance. Sure, the barrier is annoying, but like for me, it's the distance that's annoying, especially when you do all these movement speed nerfs again. This is just getting further and further out of like a distance every movement speed nerf we get. And then also we have a bullet damage nerf for Wraith. This is about 11% less damage when she's at max level, 11% less gun damage, which I do think is good. I hope this is enough. I'm not 100% sure. I think this will at the very least allow other M1s to compete with her. I cannot say on this platform, but I'd rather do than play Wraith. So I don't really specifically know how much this will hinder her. But I think this looks good. I mean, it's a decent chunk less gun damage. Her issue is kind of her cards. which this doesn't really fix, but again, it should hinder her farming relatively significantly and slow down her farming, especially with also the sprint speed spirit scaling decreases. So we'll see. I think also the movement speed decreases in general will shake up the meta relatively significantly for a lot of characters. And anyway, hope you enjoyed. Let me know if you want to go over patches, free coaching, 1 month of free coaching in the description. Also, if you just want, I generally coach for free on stream, so you could check the Twitch if you're watching this when it comes out. I'm probably live. I hope you enjoyed and keep it real as always.